Hi everyone, welcome back to Art with Alicia. On today's episode, I wanted to do a techniques episode, and I know I said that I had filmed stuff with the school, but when I watched it, I wasn't really happy with the quality. Like the sound sounds kind of like muffled or something, so I thought I'll just do them myself and edit them myself and everything. And it's not gonna have a fancy intro like the ones that they did, but we'll make do. So what we're gonna be doing is today I'm gonna be showing you how to use color pencils. So these are just Prismacolors. They're the ones that I recommend because they blend really nicely. Obviously, if you can't afford it, because I know a lot of you guys are my students, so work with what you have, okay? But I recommend Prismacolors just because they blend really nicely. So I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do right now. Okay, so here I just have a technique sheet. So technique just means the different kinds of things that you can do with a medium, and the medium we're using today again is color pencils. So right here I have hatching, cross hatching, 3D, burnished, sgraffito, impress line, edges/shadow, edges/shadow, texture rubbing, and stippling. So I'm gonna just show you a few of these, and a few of these you might just kind of remember from sitting with me in art class. Okay, so for hatching's super easy. You're just going to make parallel lines, so lines that are right next to each other. So the closer those lines are, the darker the color will appear, and the farther the lines are, it will look lighter. Okay, so that's super easy. That's hatching. Cross hatching is very similar, except you're going to kind of crisscross your lines. So you'll make lines in one direction and then go in the opposite direction. So that's cross hatching. And just like just regular hatching, the closer that your cross hatching lines are together, that area will appear darker, and the further away they are from each other, that area will appear to be a lighter value. So that's hatching and cross hatching. So for 3D, okay, I'm just gonna draw a circle, and we're gonna use our value to make it appear 3D or 3-dimensional. That means that it should appear to have a height, so how tall it is, a width, how wide it is, and a depth, how deep it is. So I'm just gonna, when you are working with something that you want it to appear 3D, the first thing you have to figure out is your light source, and that means, where's my light coming from? So is your light coming from this side? Is it coming from the top? Is it coming from the right, from the bottom? And that's my dog. She's protecting me from strangers. Okay, she's done. So for us, I'm going to say that my light is coming from this direction. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Just drew a little sun right there. So that means that my sun is going to be coming down this way. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make a circle, and that tells me that that area, I'm going to go ahead and leave it kind of light, because that's where the sun is hitting it. Okay. What I'm doing right here is just building up, and if you see, I'm leaving a small like sliver of line, because if you ever look at something, like if you set a cup down on the table, the light will bounce off the table and then go back up and hit your object. So there should be like a little line that's still kind of light. And the area that's on the opposite, that's where your darkest values should be. And I'm just going in little X shapes here, or little scumbling or little S or C shapes. So basically kind of just scrabbling. Okay, and that gives the appearance of something being 3D. And all I'm doing is building up the color. Okay, so that's 3D. So I'm gonna switch to burnish. So burnish is when you're building up the color so much that it starts to look kind of waxy and smooth and shiny in the light. So when you are doing burnishing, okay, so that right there would be like one layer of color. And if I were to kind of feel it, it doesn't feel very smooth yet. It doesn't look waxy. And if I move it, it's not really shining in the light. So then I would go back and add another layer of color. This area right here, I can see it kind of shining in the light. I know you can't really see that on the camera, but it's pretty shiny, but I still see some white areas, and it doesn't feel very smooth all over. I can still kind of feel the tooth of the paper. And right now I'm working with Bristol, because Bristol is good for a variety of mediums and it's nice and thick. Alright, so I basically just built up the color until it feels nice and smooth. It has a waxy, shiny finish to it. I know you can't really tell on the camera, but it is kind of shining in the light a little bit. The next thing we're going to do is sgraffito. Sgraffito just means kind of like that we're going to scratch away at the surface. And if you notice, all my pencils are very pointy. And if your pencil loses its point, you need to stop and immediately sharpen it, because you always want to have a nice sharp pencil. And I don't know if you can tell when I'm doing it, but when I'm working with my pencil, I spin it as I'm working with it. Because if I just leave it on the same side and go ahead and color an area, that area will be flat and it would just not be very even. So I try to turn it as I'm using it, and it keeps the point a little bit longer all the way around. I'm gonna switch pencils because now this one's not sharpened. So I'm gonna go to my light green. All right, so for sgraffito, all I wanna do is fill this area. Okay, I'm gonna do what I just told you not to do. I'm gonna fill this area with a thick layer of color. Then I'm going to go over that area with a darker color. And then I am going to be able to scratch that away. So I'm just going to use my nail right now because I don't have a paper clip here at home. But you can see that you can scratch away the top layer and it exposes the color underneath. That is sgraffito. The next one I'm going to do is impressed line. What I'm going to do is just take either a sticky note or a scrap piece of paper, and I just place it on top of the area that I want to do an impressed line thing and an impressed line design. I go ahead and I make my design with just a regular ballpoint pen. And then when I move my paper and I color over that area, whatever I just put with my on top of my scrap paper or my sticky note, that will still be white because we've pushed the paper in. So that is impressed line. So the next one we're going to do is edges and shadows. So let me take a sharp color pencil, violet, violet blue. I'm gonna take 3 pencils that are similar color and white, and I would usually use indigo because you should not use black, but I don't have indigo because I just have the plain 12 pack. So here I just have black, violet blue, violet, true blue, and white. Okay, so I'm going to keep them in my hand because I don't know if you know this, but Prismacolors have just a tiny bit of like wax or clay or something in them that makes them really soft. So when you hold them in your hand, your body heat warms them up and it makes them softer to work with. Okay, so I'm going to hold them in my hand. You can't see it, but I am holding them. And I'm just going to start with my blue violet because it's the color in between all the colors that I chose. So for this one, I kind of chose my light to be coming from down at this area. Here's my sun, it's hitting this area. It's not gonna work. Oh well. We're gonna pretend that it does. Then I'm gonna switch to my blue. I am turning my color pencil as I use it. And then I'm switching back to my violet blue. I'm turning it as I'm using it to keep my nice point. And I'm slowly losing my light source. I'm going to take some white. Even though I don't like doing this. Alright, so here I have the top of my ribbon. I'm now going to do the bottom portion of my ribbon. I'm going to start with my shadow color, which right now is black. I'm going to throw some violet in there to make it purpley like everything else. Thank you, Finn. We're safe again. All I'm doing right now is switching back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until that area is burnished. And even though this is dark, I'm going to throw some blue in here because it's always good to repeat your colors. And then I'm gonna go over it one last time with my base color, which was the blue violet, or the violet blue, I should say. Okay, so those are my edges And my shadow, so if my light is coming from this way, then my shadow should be back here. And I think I'm going to do orange, yellow, and red for the background. And I'm just doing little scribble scrabbles, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Until my area is nice and filled and beautifully burnished and looking nice. And I'm just doing scribble scrabbles, scribble scrabbles. This is where my sun or my light is hitting. You don't have to burnish, but I think burnishing makes it look more finished. And sometimes it even makes it look like it's a painting. And then people ask you like, oh, did you paint that? And you can say, no, I used color pencils. Alright, it's not completely 100% blended, but I want to move on. Okay, so the next one on here is texture rubbing. So for texture rubbing, you just take anything like a leaf, a quarter, a button, a coin. I am going to take my key. And what you want to do is just place it under your paper and just go over it with your color pencil. Okay, this key's not long enough. Let me find a longer key. Alright, so that texture rubbing didn't work, so we're going to try it again. I have a longer key. Well, it's all kind of the same height, so this one should work better. Okay, so here I have my key. And you can see that it replicates the texture. All right, the last one we're going to do is stippling. And I know that you guys have probably heard stippling in the classroom with me. So this can just be a review. So stippling just means that we're going to just be making dots. Okay, the closer your dots are, the area will be darker. And the further away your dots are from each other, that area will be lighter. I am not a huge fan of stippling because it takes forever and I just don't like the way it looks. But maybe you will like stippling and maybe you'll think that it looks awesome and maybe you'll be really good at it. Okay, so say I've only done this area and I'm already super just finished with this. I'm going to try to do a value scale here to show you the stippling. We have your colors closer together. Your dots closer together. And when you have your dots a bit further away, and then a bit further away. Okay, so you can see darker to lighter. All right, guys, so those are several different techniques. I think I'm done. I'm not going to do tonal or the other edges with shadow because I feel like this video is already pretty long. I'm going to make another video showing how I put all of these techniques to use. So tune in for that. All right, guys, so those were several different color pencil techniques. If you want to see me create an art piece with the techniques I just showed you today, make sure to watch my next video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Bye.